Hello friends, welcome back to Tech Academy. So to watch the different subject, use the playlist options on the Tech Academy channel. So we have two subjects as of now. One is digital communication and networking, and other one is microcontroller architecture and programming. And there is one more playlist where you can see what you are going to learn in this uh, current year of current academic year. That is all the courses or the subject uh, the term wise. So these are the two subjects which you are learning this first semester. Okay, do like the channel, also subscribe, and then click on the notification button to get the notification of this channel so that you can have the latest updated videos notification on your mobile phone. Okay, so in the last lecture or video we saw that the 8051's pin configuration, what are the minimum pin connections required for 8051 to be operational, right? And in today's video, we are going to see 8051 assembly language programming. So this is the basic of 8051 programming, in which we are going to see how we can use the widely used register of 8051 using simple assembly language instruction of 8051. Then what is assembly language? What are different terms that we use for assembly language like mnemonics, opcodes, operand? And then we are going to write simple assembly language program and we are going to execute that program. Okay, and also we will see like basic structure of assembly language, how we write and how it gets converted to the machine level language, that is hex code of 8051. Okay, so let's start with um, internal registers of this 8051 microcontroller. So in CPU we see like there are so many widely used registers and which are generally used to store information temporarily, and then these registers are generally hold the data which we want to process, or they can hold address of the data, that is like pointers which we use in C. Okay, then what are the different registers are there, like accumulator B registers, then register R0, register R1 up to register R7, then data pointer, program counter. Also like we can see in 8051, as we saw in the architecture diagram, that most of the 8051 register are 8-bit registers, and in 8051 there is only one data type, that is 8-bit data type, as 8051 is 8-bit CPU or 8-bit core. Then what happens to the data which is larger than 8 bit? Do 8051 process that data? Definitely yes. But to process that data, we have to divide that data into different chunks of 8 bits. Let's say we have to process 16-bit data or 32-bit data, then we must break that into 8-bit chunks. So 16-bit data should be divided into 2 bytes, that is 2 8-bit data byte, we can say, or data type. So this is how a single 8-bit register looks like. So this is a complete register which has 8 different bits. So this is LSB, which we call as D0 or data bit 0, then data bit 1, data bit 2, so on up to data bit 7. So this is how complete 8-bit register look like, or we can say it as a 1 byte register. So let's say we have to store a data like let's say 10101010, which is 55 in hex, right? So that 55 hex can be stored as a 10101010 in this 8-bit register. Similarly, we can see this is a 16-bit register or 2-byte register where D0 to D15 bits are available into that 16-bit register. And to store that data, like this is the least significant bit and D15 is the most significant bit, that is MSB. So to store 16-bit data, so LSB bit should be here and MSB bit should be here. So this is how we can store 16-bit data into a 16-bit register. So in 8051, so as I discussed earlier, so there are some widely used registers like register A, which we call as the accumulator, then register B, then register 0, register 1, register 2 up to register 7. So these are generally called as R0, R1, R2, R3 up to R7. So these all register which we see at the left side, so all these are 8-bit registers. Okay, so that we can only store maximum 8-bit data into these registers. So this can hold lower value as 00000000, that is all 8 zeros or all 8 ones, that is 11111111. So this is how it can store up to number starting from 0 to 255. So 0, 1, 2, 3 up to 255. So these values all these 8-bit registers can hold. Okay, and then these two are 16-bit registers. So this one is called as DPTR. So this is 16-bit register, but this can be divided into two 8-bit chunks. So this lower 8-bit of this DPTR is called as DPL, that is data pointer lower byte and data pointer higher byte. So this DPH is higher 8-bit of this DPTR. So this is completely a 16-bit register which is divided into two segment of 8-bit DPL and DPH. And then there is another register which is program counter. This is again a 16-bit register which holds 16-bit address. So we know like 8051 is having 64 kilobyte of maximum ROM support. So because of this program counter which has 16 bits, so this limits the 64 kilobytes of ROM. So if we had means if 8051 had this as a 32-bit register, then we should have support of maximum 2 raised to 32, that is that much wider memory or ROM we could have available in 8051. But as this program counter is only 16-bit, we can only have 64 KB, that is 2 raised to 16 external or internal EEPROM. Okay, so this program counter generally holds the address of the instruction which is to be executed next. Okay, so this address or this register is mostly accessed by CPU of 8051. Okay, so these are all most widely used register in 8051. Then how to access these registers which we already just saw. So to access this register, there are different instructions. Okay, means let's say we have to store like आपल्याला लेट्स से रजिस्टर ए मध्ये काही डेटा स्टोअर करायचा आहे और रजिस्टर ए मधनं बी मध्ये डेटा काही स्टोअर करायचा आहे और फ्रॉम वन रजिस्टर टू अनदर रजिस्टर आपल्याला डेटा मूव्ह करायचा आहे. सो फॉर दॅट वी कॅन यूज these instructions. So this is so let's see this move instruction first. So MOE or move is the instruction which is used to copy data from one location to other. That is, we can copy data from one register to another register. So its syntax is like this: move, then space, destination, comma, source. So let's say we have to move data from one register to other. So the source register should be placed here and the destination register should be placed here. So for example, we can say MOV or move A comma R0. So R0 is the source register and A is the destination register. A is nothing but accumulator. So what this instruction does, it copies data from R0 to accumulator. Okay, let's say R0 holds 55H data. So when we execute this instruction, so this 55H from this R0 will get copied into accumulator. So after execution of this instruction, accumulator will hold value as 55H. Okay, so this is how we can write a simple move instruction. And so this copying of data from source to destination is generally done by CPU. Okay, and it does not affect the source operand. Means once we copy data from R0 to A, this R0 still holds its original value, that is 55H. So it does not affect the source operand, but definitely changes the destination operand, right? So this is how we can write a simple move instruction. And let's see different examples of these move instructions. So this first instruction or first example tells like we can load the value of 55 hex into register A. So as we saw the syntax as we can move data from source to destination. Okay, so here the instruction is written as move A comma hash 55H. So this hash here tells us that this is the immediate data. This is not a register or anything else. This is the immediate data which we can directly move into or copy into accumulator. Okay, so when we execute this instruction, the accumulator will hold 55H, that is 55 in hex. Okay, so this is called as immediate data transfer. Okay, so move A comma hash 55H. So let's say I have to copy 00 into accumulator. So how I will write this instruction? I will write it as move A comma hash 00H, or we can directly write 0 because 0 in binary or hex is treated as same. Okay, so move A comma hash 00H. So when we execute that instruction, the accumulator will have value as 00. If you want to transfer FFH, then we can write move A comma hash 0FFH. So that accumulator can have this FFH into accumulator. Then another example is move R0 comma A. So here the source is accumulator and destination is R0 register. Okay, so when we execute this instruction, whatever the value is there in accumulator will get copied into register R0. Similarly, another example is move R1 comma A or accumulator. So similar to this, whatever the values there in accumulator, let's say it holds value as 55H, then that 55H will get transferred into R1. Similarly, move R2 comma A. These three examples are similar one. So whatever the value is there in the source, that is accumulator, will get copied into R2. Then the another instruction is move R3 comma hash 95H. Here the immediate data, that is 95H, will get transferred into R3 register. Okay, so what will the content of R3? That is 95H when we execute this instruction. Then the next is move A comma R3. So here content of R3. So R3 is source and A is, or accumulator is destination. So content of R3 will get transferred into accumulator. Let's say R3 holds 95H. So accumulator will hold 95H as a hex data. Then next instruction is move R5 comma hash 0F9H. So this will load a F9 hex value into R5. But we see like there are three digits, right? 0, F and 9. So why I have written this as a 3 digit and not as a 2 digits, which we written earlier examples. So the reason behind this is when this first operand is in uh, it's a character that is hexadecimal character like A, B, C, D, E or F. So in hex we know like value can go from 0 to F, right? So when this first or MSB lower nibble comes as a B, C, D, E or F, then we should prefix 0 before that character to indicate the assembler that this is a hexadecimal number and this is not a ordinary letter, but this is a hexadecimal number. So nowadays in the recent assembler we don't have to even write this 0, we can directly write F9, but still some of the assembler needs this kind of indication to indicate that this is a hexadecimal number. So at the end, what is the number? This is the F9. So F9 will get transferred into R5. But still, it is a good practice to write any number which start with the letters, that is A to F. If it is start with A to F, we should write 0 before that. So, and the next example is move A comma 17H. Okay, so here in earlier example we saw that we had this hash symbol when we have to transfer immediate data into any register, but here it is we haven't used any hash or anything else. So what is the use of this instruction? So this instruction is basically used to, so as as we know like we have internal RAM register like, so which has address from 00 to 7F, right? So there are 256 registers total, and from 00 to 127 of RAM. So we have that general purpose area or for other purposes as well. So from that RAM location, we can directly move data into, let's say, accumulator. Okay, so 17H is nothing but the address of your memory location, which is address of your RAM location. So data from this 17H of the RAM will get copied into accumulator. So this is as good as a pointer where we are directly mentioning the address. So from this address of the RAM, data will get copied into accumulator. So these are the different ways where we can transfer data from one location to other location, or we can directly transfer immediate data into any of the register, that is like accumulator or any of the R0 to R7 registers, by using this hash sign. Okay, then we can move data from accumulator to any R0 to R15 register, or we can move data from any R0 to R15 register to accumulator, right? So this is how move instruction can be used to transfer data between registers. So the next instruction is add instruction. Here the syntax is similar to the move instruction, but there is one difference here. So the add instruction tells the CPU to add the source byte to register A and put the result in register A again. Okay, so here we are not telling that there is a another destination register. It is it is the accumulator register which is the destination always. So in case of this add instruction, so basically add instruction does adding of 2 bytes. Okay, so here the source can be any register or immediate data by using hash symbol. Okay, so source can be your R0, R1, R2 or R15 register, or immediate data like hash, let's say 00H. Okay, and this source can be added to accumulator. Okay, and the result of this addition will get again stored into accumulator only. So how this happens, let's say right now the value of accumulator is 0, and so let's take this example. Let's say we have to add these two numbers 25H and 34H. So these two are hexadecimal numbers and we wanted to add these two numbers. Then we have written, let's say, program as like this. Let's say first we move this 25H into accumulator. Okay, so we have 25H in accumulator now, and then we have written next instruction as move R2 comma hash 34H. So the second number which we want to add is now in R2 register. So first number is in accumulator and second number is in R2 register. So we can write the instruction as add a comma R2. Okay, so the number in R2, which is 34H, will get added into accumulator. So accumulator is having 35H. So 35H plus 34H will get added and the result is again stored into accumulator. So in simple mathematics, this is what is going to happen. So A is containing 25H and R2 is containing 34H. Okay, so this two will get added and the result will get stored into accumulator again. Okay, so at the end we will be having result as 59H in accumulator. Okay, and so the content of this R2 is not going to change here. Okay, but only the final result, which is 59H, will get stored into accumulator. So this is how the add instruction can be used to do the addition of two numbers. Okay, so this is the simple program which we saw. Okay, so what happened here, the add instruction ने काय केलं की accumulator मध्ये जो काही सोर्सचा डेटा आहे तो आपण ऍड केला आहे. ओके, सो याच्यामध्ये आपण फर्स्ट काय केलंय की टू नंबर्स लेट्स से 25H आणि 34H हे आपल्याला ऍड करायचे आहेत. तर त्याच्यासाठी आपण पहिल्यांदा काय केलं की फर्स्ट ऑपरंट विच इज 25H आपण ॲक्युमुलेटरमध्ये मूव्ह केला युजिंग इमिजिएट ॲड्रेसिंग, आणि नंतर सेकंड ऑपरंट दॅट इज 35H आपण R2 मध्ये मूव्ह केला. आपण R0, R1, R2 या ठिकाणी कुठलाही एक रजिस्टर आपण कुठलाही रजिस्टर फ्रॉम R0 टू R15 यूज करू शकतो. सॉरी, R0 टू R7 आपण यूज करू शकतो. We have only 8 register R0 to R7, not R15. So my apologies for that. Please consider R0 to R7, not R15. Okay. So याच्यापैकी R0 to R7 पैकी कुठल्या रजिस्टरमध्ये आपण हा सेकंड ऑपरंड मूव्ह करू शकतो आणि शेवटी आपण त्यांचं ॲडिशन करू शकतो बाय युजिंग दिस इन्स्ट्रक्शन दॅट इज ॲड A, R2. ओके, सो these two operands will get added. म्हणजे R2 मधला डेटा A मध्ये ॲड होईल. A मध्ये ऑलरेडी काय 25H, सो 25H प्लस 34 यांची ॲडिशन होईल आणि रिझल्ट अगेन विल गेट स्टोर्ड इन टू ॲक्युमुलेटर. सो जो 25H जो आहे आधीचा तो ओव्हरलॅप होईल विथ द लेटेस्ट रिझल्ट, आणि लेटेस्ट रिझल्ट काय येतात 25 आणि 34H ची ॲडिशन. इथे हा जो डेस्टिनेशन हा ऑलवेज तुमचा ॲक्युमुलेटर असला पाहिजे. वी कॅनॉट हॅव एनी अदर रजिस्टर लाईक R0 टू R7 हिअर. सो वी शुड ऑलवेज हॅव ॲक्युमुलेटर ॲज अ डेस्टिनेशन, अँड ॲट द सोर्स वी कॅन हॅव एनी रजिस्टर. ओके, let's see another example using this add instruction. So here the same two numbers we are going to add, that is 25H and 34H, but here we have R5 which holding 25H. So here this instruction is doing like moving this 25H into R5, then this 34H is copied into R7, and then we have written another instruction like move A, #0. So here the accumulator's content we are clearing, that is we are loading 0 into accumulator. So accumulator is holding 0 as of now, and now we are adding the R5 into accumulator. So now accumulator is holding its value as 0, and we are adding R5 means we are adding the first number into accumulator, that is 25H. So what will be the result? That is 25H only, because 25H plus 0 will be 25H. So first number is there in accumulator now, and then the next instruction is add A, R7. So here the accumulator is holding now 25H. Okay, and because we have already executed this instruction, so accumulator is holding 25H and R7 is holding 34H. So now when we add A, R7, then we will be having the result of this 25H plus 34H into accumulator. Okay, so this is the another way. Here we are using this add instruction twice to add these two numbers, and initially we have taken these two numbers in R5 and R7. Okay, so this is again another way of adding two numbers by using add instruction. Hope this is clear to all. Okay, And so as I mentioned, in case of add instruction or any other arithmetic instruction which we are going to see in future videos. So for arithmetic instructions, your register A must be always involved. Okay, we cannot do any arithmetic instruction or any arithmetic operation without accumulator registers. So we have to use this accumulator register always, and it should be always in destination. Okay, so if we write add r2 comma hash 12h, then this is an invalid instruction. We cannot write this way. Okay, why? Because instead of accumulator we are using here r2. Okay, accumulator should always be at the destination. Okay, then again there is another invalid type of instruction, that add r4 comma a. So we should not write this way again. Okay, so we should have uh, in different manner, like we can do this in add a comma r4, not r4 comma a. Okay, so this is a invalid instruction. So next point is like how to do assembly language programming for 8051. So as we have seen, like some of the examples like add, move, okay, these are nothing but the assembly language programming examples. But why to use assembly language? Why not to use C language or any other higher level languages? Okay, so we'll see. Means definitely we are using, or nowadays programmers are using this high level languages only and not the assembly language. But assembly language is having its own advantage, and still today it is used in some of the applications where we want high speed execution. We cannot uh, rely on the assembly language programming because it has its own disadvantages. Okay, so CPU uh, we know can only work with binaries like zeros and ones, and also it can work on binaries with very high speed. Okay, so this is the advantage. And we can see, like if we write any of the program, it consists of only zeros and ones for the CPU and not for us, because CPU only knows these zeros and ones. And this language or this program is called as machine language or machine level program. Okay, where only all zeros and ones are written. So when we say machine level language, so the language which machines understand. And what language machine understands? It only understands zeros and ones. So the program which consists of only zeros and ones, we can call it as machine level language. So earlier programmers used to do programming in machine level languages using hexadecimal systems, like the way we saw the examples of move, right? So move instruction मध्ये आपण काय केलं, आपल्याला लेट से ॲक्युमुलेटरमध्ये डेटा ट्रान्सफर करायचा होता R0 मधनं, तर आपण काय लिहिलं, मूव ए कॉमा R0. सो दिस इज असेंबली instruction. But for this move instruction, there is a opcode, so which is a hexadecimal number. And again, for moving data from R0 into accumulator, there is another hexadecimal opcode. Okay, so for example, let's say 7410. So these two opcodes, that is 7410, are nothing but machine language to copy data from R0 to accumulator. So this was the earlier system which programmers were using. Of course, म्हणजे आता ज्या पद्धतीने मी तुम्हाला समजून सांगतोय, हे जेवढं अवघड वाटतंय की हाऊ 7410 इज म्हणजे कसं डिकोड करायचं, तर तसं ते प्रोग्रामर जे आहे ते in earlier times they were using this machine language for programming. Okay, so nowadays uh, uh, we are not using these machine level languages by, like, programmers don't use this language right now. Okay, because eventually, like, we have assembly language which is developed by mnemonics for the machine code instructions. So mnemonics are nothing but codes and abbreviation. So in our case, move, add, this is nothing but a mnemonics. Okay, so instead of using that 7410, we can very well use move a comma r0, right? So this move a comma r0 is very like readable, and it is easy to use, right, instead of using 7410. And the other features that made programming faster, and again this is less prone to error, means instead of 74 one can write 7573, okay, which is prone to error, right? And it is not easy to understand like where programmer had made mistake. Okay, so this assembly language is again advantageous, and we can fastly program, right? Again, assembly language code must be translated into machine level language using assembler. So there is one program which is assembler, which is doing this job of converting our assembly language code into machine level language. Okay, so at the end we know like CPU only understand this binary language. So how assembly language code gets converted? So this assembler does the assembly language conversion into machine level language or binary language. Okay, this assembly language is again referred as low level language, as it deals with internal structure of CPU. Okay, it is a assembly language is called as low level language. Why? Because it is close to CPU, or it is deals with the internal structure of CPU. Okay, then what assembly language programmer should know? So the programming should know the how the CPUs holds the different registers, means the architecture of 8051, and the what and all registers the CPU is having, what is the size of each and every register, whether a register is 8-bit or 16-bit. Then the other details like what is the function of that particular register, or what is the function of any particular bit in that particular register. So that information the programmer should know prior to doing the programming of 8051 in assembly language, right? Because without this information he cannot do the programming. Okay, so this is all details which we are going to learn in upcoming videos. Okay, so what are the different CPU register, what are the sizes, and what is the function of these registers. So today most of the programmers uses higher higher level programming languages like C, C++, Pascal for programming of this 8051 controller or other advanced microcontrollers. Okay, and of course we cannot do all the complicated application programming or driver level of programming using assembly language, because it is very tedious and it needs means very low level knowledge or CPU level knowledge. But when the programmers do the programming in higher level languages, they don't need to know the basic or internal architecture of that microcontroller. Okay, that is why higher level languages are preferred nowadays by programmers. But again, these high level languages are needs to be translated to machine level languages by the compilers. Okay, so there are compilers, then assemblers which do uh, the job of conversion of these higher level languages into again machine level languages or binary languages. So again back to the assembly language. So let's see the structure of assembly level language. So what is the structure of this assembly level language? So we can see this is the simple program which we have already seen. आधी जो आपण ॲडिशनचा प्रोग्राम बघितला तो सेम प्रोग्राम हा आहे, ज्याच्यामध्ये आपण म्हणू शकतो की these are the series of lines which are written in assembly level language. Okay, these are some uh, uh, directives, then some assembly instructions are there. Okay, these are nothing but the comments. Similarly we use in C language. Similarly we can do commenting in assembly language as well. So basically an assembly language program consists of series of lines of assembly language instructions or directives. An assembly instruction consists of mnemonic optionally followed by one or two operands. So this move is nothing but a instruction, but this is called as a mnemonic, and it can consist of one or two operands. Okay, so this R5 is nothing but a operand which is a register name, and this is the second operand which is nothing but a direct value, that is 25H. Okay, so the operands are nothing but the data items being manipulated. Means this 25H or R5, these are nothing but the data items, right? Where we wanted to move data from one location to another location. सो इन सिम्पल टर्म्स आपण म्हणू शकतो की ऑपरंड म्हणजे काय, की ज्या डेटाला आपल्याला प्रोसेस करायचा आहे तो डेटा किंवा नेम ऑफ द रजिस्टर्स. सो नेम ऑफ द रजिस्टर आणि डेटा इज नथिंग बट आवर ऑपरंड्स, अँड न्यूमनिक्स इज नथिंग बट द कमांड which tells CPU like what operations need to be performed, right? So move instruction tells like CPU wants to move data from like this direct data to R5 register. Okay, so this is nothing but move as a mnemonics. तर तो काय सांगतोय की सीपीयूला सांगतो की डायरेक्ट डेटा जो आहे 25H हा R5 रजिस्टरमध्ये मूव्ह करायचा आहे. ओके, दिस इज नथिंग बट अ कमांड which we are telling it to CPU. So this is mnemonic, right? So here move is a mnemonic, add is our mnemonic, then A, R5, A, this direct data, these are all operands. Okay, move and add are our mnemonics. Okay, again sjump is again a at this line, second last line, sjump is again our mnemonic. Okay, so this is how the assembly code can be structured or can be written in a series of lines which contains operands, mnemonics. Okay, so the same example I have written over here, and here like as I mentioned previously, like add, move are nothing but the instructions or mnemonics which we are using in assembly language, and there are some directives such as originate or org, then end. So directives are nothing but the instructions which we give to assembler. Okay, so instructions are nothing but uh, the instructions are basically which tells CPU like what to do. Like for example, add, move, sjump. These are nothing but the instructions. So we have seen the examples and uses of these instructions, right? Sjump is nothing but an instruction which tells CPU to jump from this level to this level. So basically, this here is nothing but a label, and we are staying or telling CPU to jump from jump to this label. So the label is here is again placed over this location. So this is nothing but similar to our while one loop. This is infinite loop we can say. So when it is executing, it is again continuously keeping into this loop only. It is not going to execute further. Okay, this is an infinite loop. S jump here means it is jumping here only, and again it is jumping here only. This is an infinite loop. So this S jump is again an instruction. Okay, so these three instructions we have seen in this particular program. And then directives. What is directive? So directives are nothing but the directions which we give to the assemblers. So in C language you use preprocessors. Like what is the use of preprocessor? So preprocessors are generally before compilation. So let's say you have written some pragma like hash define, let's say pi 3.14, right? So what does uh, this pre-processing does? So this replaces the pi value wherever it occurs into the program. Okay, so wherever pi or pi is used, it replaces that value with 3.14, right? So similarly, uh, that's directives tells assembler like what is the like means it gives the direction to assembler. Like for example, org is gives it gives the direction to assembler that plays the opcode at memory location 0. Okay, so org 0h is nothing but the first uh, directive which is used at the beginning of the program. So हा काय सांगतो की जे मेमरी लोकेशन आहे म्हणजे हा जो माझा नेक्स्ट जो काही प्रोग्रामचा कोड आहे हा माझ्या मेमरीच्या झिरोथ लोकेशनला ठेवायचा आहे. म्हणजे जी माझ्या रॉमचा पहिला जो बाईट असेल तो माझा या मेमरीचा सॉरी ह्या इन्स्ट्रक्शनचा ऑपकोड आणि ऑपरंड असेल. हे मी तुम्हाला डिटेलमध्ये नेक्स्ट स्लाइडमध्ये सांगणार आहे की व्हॉट इज डज एक्झॅक्टली डज वेन वी डू दिस ORG00. So right now just remember that ORG is nothing but a directive which gives direction to assembler, so which plays the opcode at memory location 0. And end is it tells assembler that the source code has ended. Okay, and just assemble this code and generate the machine code for this particular program. So this is what this end tells, that this ASM file is ended. Okay, and this is the complete syntax of any of the instruction. So we have already seen the instructions. तर इथे न्यूमॅनिक जे आहे ते न्यूमॅनिक काय आहे? So likewise add, move. So this is how the mnemonic can be placed, and the operands are optional. So brackets are nothing but the optional fields. Okay, so let's say add is the mnemonic, and there are what are the operands? Operands are a comma, let's say R7. So here this is how we can write a code, and we can write comment for that particular code or instruction which we have written. Again, label is the optional field. Here we are not seeing any label, but at this place we are seeing the label as here, and that label is um, it must end with the semicolon. Sorry, must end with the colon. Okay, this is similar to the go to instruction which we write in C language, right? So sjump here, so here is the label with the colon, right? And when we write the instruction that like sjump here, so this label jumps again at that particular label. Let's say this here label we place here, then what will happen when this sjump here instruction will get executed, this will jump here because we have placed it here label at this instruction. Okay, so this will continuously go on executing this instruction. When it comes at the end, it will again jump to this particular location. Okay, so this is how label can be used, and we have seen how we can place the comments in the particular code, right? So this is how we can write an assembly level code, okay, using different instructions and different directives. Also we can place some comments and we can add some labels, right? So this is the flow. The same way uh, you might have gone through the code flow for C language, right? Similarly, like this is the flow for assembly language to execute the program. So uh, there is no much difference here. So the program which we have written, you just have to write the same program in any of the editor. So choose the editor like Notepad, Notepad++, write the program at that particular editor and just save that file with any of the extension like .asm, .a, .src depending on the assembler which you are using. So mostly .asm is commonly used assembler like extension for that assembly file. So your file name will be myfile.asm, and this file then given to the your assembler. Then this assembler program will process this file and execute two files, that is myfile.lst and myfile.obj. So two files will get generated for a single ASM file, that is list file and then object file. So list file is nothing but it leads the list all the opcodes and addresses as well as errors that the assemblers detected. Means if you want to see if your this assembly file has any errors into it, then you can very well go into this lst file and find out where the error has occurred. Same way it gives you the opcodes, operands details. I will walk you through this list file in the next slide. And the output of if there is no error, then you will get this myfile.object file. This is nothing but the our output of this assembler program. And let's say there are multiple ASM files, then the other ASM files like objective files of these other ASM files can be input to your this linker program, right? So जसं की आपल्याकडे इथं myfile.asm फाईल आहे ज्याचा आउटपुट आहे myfile.object फाईल. देन सेम वे आपल्याकडे अदर फाईल्स देखील असतील. जसं तुमच्या सी मध्ये मल्टिपल सी फाईल्स असतात ज्याचा मल्टिपल ऑब्जेक्ट फाईल्स असतात, तसं मल्टिपल ऑब्जेक्ट फाईल्स कॅन बी गिवन टू द लिंकर. So what is the task of this linker? Similar to any C linker, what it does, it links the different references or different external references of your program, and then it creates a single object file which we call at myfile.abs. Okay, so this will be a single executive object files for all your different object files. So this is what the linker does of linking different references from different object files, and it creates single ABS files, and this ABL file will get converted by this OH program, that is object to hex converter program. So object file will get converted into hex program by this OH program to generate our final hex file. So in most of the modern assembler, all these three tasks are done by the single program, and which generates the final hex file, which is nothing but our machine level language file. So this file is our actual output, our machine level language output, which we burn or flash into the 8051 ROM. Okay, so this file we need to flash into 8051 ROM in order to execute our 8051 program. So this program, when we want to execute in 8051, so the corresponding file of this program, that is hex file, we need to flash into or burn into 8051 ROM. Okay, so this is the .lst file which I was talking about. So this was the same program which we discussed earlier, and so this is nothing but um, the LST file structure. So you can see these are the line numbers, okay, and these are the memory locations, of the ROM where these instructions are going to be stored, okay. And so this is the first instruction org0h, which tells assembler where we wanted to put the program in the ROM, okay, in the flash. So if this org address is, let's say, 50h, okay, so this, the first instruction will be placed into the ROM at 50h location and not at the 0h location, okay. So as we have placed started with 0h, so this first instruction, सो ही जी काही इन्स्ट्रक्शन आहे move R5 # 25h, याचा करस्पॉन्डिंग ऑपकोड आणि ऑपरंड जो आहे मशीन लेवल लँग्वेजमध्ये आहे दॅट इज 7D25. ओके, सो हेक्स फाईलमध्ये आपला जो फायनल ऑपकोड आणि ऑपरंड असणार आहे ते असतील 7D25. 7D काय आहे, तर 7D CPU ला सांगतो की R5 मध्ये मला 25h मूव्ह करायचं आहे. ओके, R5 मध्ये 25h मूव्ह करायचं आहे. So 7D is for moving data into R5 and 25 is as it is placed next to this 7D. Okay, so this 7D25 tells is nothing but your complete instruction, that is move R5 #25h. Similarly 7F34 का आहे की 34 हा जो काही डेटा आहे हा R7 मध्ये मूव्ह करायचा आहे. सो R7 मध्ये डेटा मूव्ह करण्यासाठी ऑपकोड आहे 7F आणि त्याचा ऑपरंड काय आहे 34. सो तो ऑपरंड ॲज इट इज इथे प्लेस केला आहे. सिमिलरली 25 हा जो काही ऑपरंड आहे हा ॲज इट इज नेक्स्ट टू 7D प्लेस केला आहे. 7Dचा एक अर्थ काय की R5 मध्ये डेटा मूव्ह करायचा आहे. ओके, दिस इज द इमिजिएट डेटा. कुठला डेटा 25h आणि 34h. सो हे जे काही 2 बाईट आहे 7D आणि 25 हे आपले ॲक्च्युली मशीन कोडचे बाईट झाले जे आपले आता 00 लोकेशनला स्टोर्ड असतील. सो 00ला पहिल्यांदी 7D स्टोर्ड असेल, 01ला 25 स्टोर्ड असेल. हे कुठे स्टोर्ड असणार आहेत, फ्लॅशमध्ये, दॅट इज युअर रॉममध्ये, 8051च्या रॉममध्ये. ओके, त्याच्यानंतर जो नेक्स्ट बाईट असेल 7F34. सो 02ला 7F, 03ला 34. Okay, then the next instruction is move A, #00. So ॲक्युम्युलेटरला क्लिअर करण्यासाठी काय किंवा ॲक्युम्युलेटरमध्ये 00 स्टोअर करण्यासाठी 7400. 74 इज ऑपकोड फॉर मुव्हिंग डेटा इन टू ॲक्युम्युलेटर. कुठला डेटा मूव्ह करायचा आहे तर 00. इट इज डायरेक्ट डेटा हा इथं प्लेस केला आहे. ओके, सो ही जी इन्स्ट्रक्शन आहे ती रॉमच्या 0405, 04ला 74, 05ला 00 असा बाईट स्टोर्ड असतील. आणि नेक्स्ट इज ॲड A, R5 म्हणजे ॲक्युम्युलेटरमध्ये R5 मूव्ह करायचा आहे. तर आता याच्यासाठी एकच बाईटचा ऑपकोड आहे म्हणजे 2D. 2Dचा अर्थ काय तर ॲक्युम्युलेटरमध्ये R5चं कंटेंट स्टोअर करायचं. तसंच 2Fचा अर्थ काय, ॲक्युम्युलेटरमध्ये R7 हे कंटेंट मूव्ह करायचं. सो हे एक बाईटचे ऑपकोड झाले, राईट. सो 2D इज प्लेस्ड ॲट द रॉम लोकेशन 0006 आणि 2F इज प्लेस्ड ॲट द रॉम लोकेशन 0007. ओके, सेम वे मला जर R6मध्ये R6चा डेटा ॲक्युम्युलेटरमध्ये मूव्ह करायचा असता तर एनी गेसेस व्हॉट विल बी द ऑपकोड फॉर दॅट. सो वी हॅव सीन ऑपकोड फॉर moving data from R5 to A is 2D. R7 मध्ये ॲक्युम्युलेटरमध्ये डेटा मूव्ह करण्यासाठी 2F आहे. तर 2E हा जो आहे हा ऑपकोड कशासाठी असेल, R6 मध्ये डेटा मूव्ह करण्यासाठी असेल, राईट. 20 R0 टू ॲक्युम्युलेटर, 21 R1 टू ॲक्युम्युलेटर, 22 R2 टू ॲक्युम्युलेटर. सिमिलरली 2D is for Sorry, it won't be like the way. So it will be like, but the example will be like this. Means 2E will be for R6 to accumulator, right? Similarly, R4 मधला accumulator मध्ये move करायचा असेल तर it will be 2C and then so on 2B, 2A and 29, right? Same way. Okay, so this will be the your machine code. This will be the machine code. This will be the memory location where that machine code will go, and the final data will be stored in the ROM location, or this final your program will be stored into the ROM location 000, 0002, 0004 and so on. Okay, this is how the data will get stored into the ROM location. Okay, so this is it for today's videos, where we see the saw what is the structure of assembly code, how that assembly code we can write, how that gets stored, or how that gets converted from assembly to the machine level language. Okay, and then how this gets stored into the ROM. Okay, so stay tuned for the updated videos, and keep liking, subscribing, and uh, putting your comments, your questions in the comment section of the channel. Okay, thank you.